morning and happy holidays. Today we're going to be doing another of the beautiful light jars that we have done in the summer. If you watched the summertime video, you know that we did some really gorgeous sunflower jars. Very easy to make. Today we're going to be doing a holiday theme, and this time around we're going to do stars and snow. I have myself a nice clean jar. This jar was a salsa jar. When you soak these overnight, the label comes off fairly easily, and then you just have to rub a little bit to get that extra glue off. Inside we'll be using our dollar store lights. This one here are the new style that I've seen recently. They have them on a wire. There's also the older ones that have the plastic line to them. And of course, if they're out of stock, which they might be this time of year, and that's something like this, you can certainly use whatever you have lying around the house. You can use string lights that might be able to fit inside. You could use, sometimes I see where they have a fake battery operated candle. You could definitely set that inside. Take the plastic candle thing off. All you need is the lighted part. There's lots of different options. And then of course inside, in order to get that nice reflective surface, we like to use either these glass stones that you can also get from the dollar store. You can use marbles if you've already got marbles around the house, which is what I did when I did my sunflower jar. You could use shiny pennies, anything at all really that's reflective and that you can sit nicely at the bottom of the jar. So we'll move our paint over. I've already got some out here on my palette. And I'm going to mix up. First I'm going to do some larger stars, and in around the stars I'm going to put the snowflakes. So sort of a starry, snowy night sort of idea. Now I use an artist palette because that's something that I have on hand. If you don't have something like that on hand, these takeout containers, don't throw them out. They are amazing for crafts and art projects. I could have cleaned this one up and reused it, but I have so many of these takeout containers that I don't worry about cleaning them up. But this is actually oil paint. Once it's dry on here, I can put oil paint again right over top of that. It's not going to do anything. So these are a great little tool to have for your arts and crafts projects. So I'm going to mix up some white and some yellow. I want a nice bright color for my star. And I'm making this fairly significant in size. Don't worry, your star doesn't have to be like a perfect geometric star. Because technically, when we look up in the sky, the stars that we see, they're not this shape. This is just some shape that we humans came up with. So really, your star could be any shape at all. There's no right or wrong. is also a pretty easy project for kids. But again, as I always say, if you have kids that are doing these workshops that I have, definitely there should be supervision, especially if they're under a certain age, to make sure that they're using the supplies properly. This is a pretty basic star. Another one over on the other side. I'm going to change up the color a little bit, make it a little bit lighter. I'm going to do 3 on this one. My stars right now that I'm doing, they have 5 points. Again, you can do however many points you want on your star. And I'm doing these fairly rustic. I'm not worrying about having perfect edges and straight lines. I find this kind of art, when you're doing a craft art type project, keeping it rustic looking, a lot more fun to do. And you end up with a finished product that's appealing to have around your home. Sort of the farmhouse style. If any of you have done my fine art painting workshops where we're doing sunsets and trees and water and rivers and rocks, you know that this type of painting that I'm doing right now is very different than what we do in those videos. This is just more of a fun exercise. You don't have to get bogged down in worrying about all the details. So we've got three stars. Do some little rays coming out of them if you want to. I might do that on, there's a couple here. It's a kind of folksy, artsy look. Trickiest part when you're doing these is because you're painting on something that's round and circular, is knowing where to put your hand that's holding it so you're not touching the paint. Sometimes that's a little bit tricky, and sometimes you end up touching the paint. No big deal. Just wash off your hands and start again. So we're going to do some snowflakes. And I don't want to overdo. I don't really want to fill the entire surface of the jar completely. And I don't want to use a pure white. I'm going to mix some of my blue in. So we've got very, very pale blue. And again, snowflakes, every one of them is a different shape. So there's no right or wrong on here. I want to hold this by the bottom, so I have to look, see where I've already got things. Little snowflake. I have a little bit too much paint on my brush. If you've got too big of a glob on the tip of your brush, you're going to get some globby things going on. Just wipe it off. Again, I'm not worried about making my snowflakes perfectly symmetrical. A couple there. I think I'm going to have to, they certainly aren't. On what we're working on today. See if I can get a teeny tiny one over here in between these stars. If you are someone who loves snow more than stars, certainly you could reverse this, make the snowflakes the largest part, so these areas would be snowflakes, and these little areas would be the stars poking in between. My goal is to help you find your own creative ideas and find the courage to try those ideas. I think that's good. I don't want to overdo it. Now I've only got white stones today. For this one, it'd be nice to have a nice contrast color, maybe a red in the bottom or blue. Put these in. Now, of course, I'm doing this now, even though I don't recommend you putting the stones in right after you're done painting. I recommend that you put this away. This paint, if you're using oil paint, is going to take probably a week to dry. So put that away, let it dry first, and then you can add your bottom reflective bits. And then let's put our light in so we can see what it looks like. there you go. Beautiful little star and snowflake holiday light jar. I hope you had fun, and thanks for watching. Bye for now.